So I'm Justin. So I was the educator. So this is my class. These are some of my students working on the project with VR. So what I did after going through the training course, I actually taught this last year a class called World Humanities, which was reading, writing, and social studies kind of wrapped into one. I also, through some teacher changes, was added in a science course. So I actually used my science class because it was a smaller group that I had. I had about 21 students, give or take, if they were there on a regular basis, that I used for this example and getting them on VR. I got a classroom set of 15 VR headsets that I kept in the classroom. So I did have students paired up. I had one student who asked to do it alone. So before I even got the headsets on, part of the process was identifying what I wanted to teach with the VR. So an upcoming unit that I had not covered was actually about the water cycle. And from knowing this from being an educator, the water cycle is a pretty dry subject for a lot of students. It's very much just surface level. This is what it is. Yeah, right? No pun intended. I don't write jokes, I just tell them. But, so getting them on that topic is very much you present and it's them just regurgitating that material back to you on a test. Or if you did a project, it's something like a trifold poster board or Google Slides, and it's been done. And so I thought this is a perfect chance to incorporate VR. So I dove into the process, and Kwaku, who couldn't be here, him and I talked through a process. He goes, how are you going to hook kids? And so he goes, what's your kids interested in? And I'm sure they're probably like several of your students at your schools, they're interested in shoes, video games, clothing, things like that, Takis. I didn't know how to incorporate that, but I took the idea of video games. And so I did a little research and I found that educational video games is supposed to be a booming industry within the next 5 years. A lot of people are looking at how they can incorporate educational games in the classrooms because students love video games. And so that was my hook. So I told the students that a video game designer was approaching them as the ones that needed to make this game that was not only a best-selling video game, but educational and included content. So when I gave them that, they started having discussions through the format where they came up with solutions of what they could do. And I gave them the educational content, which they thought was all different ideas, but it was just the water cycle because that's who I am. I made them think it was unique to them. And so they started going in. Now, I didn't teach anything about the water cycle, none. I said, this is for you to figure out and solve this problem because you're presenting on it soon. And I gave them a date of which they were going to present to other students, not only the thing that they create, but they had to have the correct educational content to be evaluated. And the same goes with the program Zoe. I didn't go through and give them any instruction in the program. I just had it set up and I walked out and I felt like a rock star teacher when I held up one and I said, I got a cabinet over here full of these things. And they were like, what is that? I have, like one kid had one before and they got a chance to do it. So we go through, I got them onto it and there were some tech issues and that was absolutely true, connecting with things. The students were great because they wanted so desperately to try it. That they were so patient. It was, and generally when we had them on, it was so quiet in the classroom you wouldn't even know I was teaching, and I really didn't feel like I was teaching that much because they were just so involved in their content. So they went through and they got on the program, and again, something that you're working with coding, you would never think that would be something that students would not need instruction with, and I was shocked because within about a day to 2 days, my science class is 43 minutes block scheduling. So students come in, student A would grab the headset, student B would grab the iPad, minus the first day of like, this is a Guardian when you set it up, and this is how you log into the app and making sure that works. When they finally got into the app, like students were creating in minutes. I put this into this, Mr. Kosek, I put this on it. And they were sharing with each other, they were collaborating. And again, as an educator, I didn't feel like I was teaching. I was walking around, supervising, facilitating, and when problems came up, same thing, I was new to it, and at the time when we were doing this, I wasn't probably the best problem solver for it. And so it was great because students would say, well, I don't know how to put this asset of a door in, and then I'd have another student yell from across the room, I know how to do it, and they'd shoot over and help them out. And again, I was just there like, oh, wow, look at what you're doing. And so they went through this process. It was about 3 weeks that we were in it. They created and they made these amazing things that I was just floored. And again, it showed so much of their voice and choice in what they were doing because again, they created types of video games that showed their own reflections of themselves, and then they had to incorporate that educational content, the water cycle content, in a way that actually fit within the game, and it wasn't this foreign piece within it that's just like content. So my one group of students, I had several groups of students do well with it. Others got further than that because they went through the storyboard process of thinking all the scenes. So this was a group that we'll play the video for. They ended up creating it, this story, and I'll just kind of preface the story. So they're in their world, there's a dragon that attacked, is very fantasy based, and disrupted the water cycle because of its fire. And you are the hero that has to restore the water cycle to what it is and go through and save the day. And so there's different questions they go through. So the students actually created all these different scenes. If you start the program, Zoe, it starts with absolutely like nothing. It's like a setting of infinite space. So there's no other assets in there. So everything you see, the rocks, the fire, the dragon, all of that has to be inputted. And all the interactions that exist, the dialogue is all created by students. And again, I really do hit this point. I did not do anything to show them and help them with this. This was all their interactions and creations with minimal effort from me besides giving them the reins to control what they do.
I wake up in my room. My cat is always hungry. His door is locked. What about the button? I need a ball. Oh, that looks like a ball. A baseball. Let me throw it at that button. It opened the door. What? Is that a dragon? The dragon's hungry. He's just gonna take us to the dragon for food? Is this a prison? It looks kind of musky. The water has been disrupted. The fire, the monster is too hot for the water. The water instantly evaporates, making lots of fog. What usually evaporates water? The sun. I think it's here to be the sun, yeah. What's this? Is this a forest? What's that man over there? He's thirsty. We need to fill this glass. If there's a plant, maybe they have a watering can with water. We can find a fridge. Huh. Oh, there's the watering can. Oh, is that the refrigerator? Oh, we have a glass of water now. Okay, he wanted this, so I'm gonna throw it at him. Are we in the sky? This looks weird. Oh my god, it's a dragon. How did that sword go here? It wasn't that in the skeleton? I'm gonna throw it at him. Die, foul beast. This part is weak. Hit it and monsters should fall off. I have to hit this part. Bro, what is that fish? Hello, human. I'm the funny fish. You seem to be very hard from home. No, thanks. I'm not gonna let you hit me. Whoa. Oh. Yeah, I'm so happy to go home. Oh, the dragon's head is there. Home sweet home. Credit to Daniel V, and Jaden P for making this game.
They were so excited to be able to try to come in, so then they started talking to other teachers, and the teachers would walk by if they had the chance to peek in and see what they were doing, or would walk in. And the excitement that it created amongst not only staff but other students really boosted the students' ability and confidence in their learning piece and building this, because they wanted to show other people. And so it was really exciting because they did get to share, and we did collect feedback from other students on it to potentially go back through, and we didn't do that in the time that we had, but go back and make it better, or edit their content so they could include even more. But again, it was just such a fun process. It was so creative to see what they made. They were so proud of what they made, and seeing how they incorporated that content was really what it was worth. Because again, I think as an educator, how many times if you do go and you give a test and you get great results or sometimes mixed results, and you come back and you try to do that spiral review, and you say how many kids still kept that content, and it kind of washed away because it was that surface level. This was so much deeper that you could tell the students not only grasped the content, but they were owners of that content in a way that made sense to them. So again, I had families that gave some feedback that was just like, thanks, this is really cool. But I had the one student who was up there, their parent was floored. Like they couldn't believe that that was something that they created on their own and from nothing. And because their son was able to explain how it went in a really great way, so they were really happy with the end result.
Thanks, Justin. For us, it's the public demonstration of learning at the end that's really true family engagement. So again, we serve families that come from backgrounds of economic disadvantage, and frequently there's all kinds of barriers to why they don't engage in school. We had one of our serves a high volume of students who need additional support at school, elementary schools, and when we were doing like traditional parent-teacher conferences, maybe 20% of the parents showed up, and we thought that was great. The first time we switched to public demonstrations of learning, the first time we had a high participation, the next time, every kid brought someone. Every single student in that school brought someone to show their parent what they were doing at school. And some of them brought their uncle or their cousin or the neighbor who lived down the hallway. And, you know, a few of those characters, we were like, I don't know if they would pass the background check. So let's walk around with them for the evening. But every kid brought someone because they were proud of what they were able to produce. VR is just another avenue for us to provide more opportunity for kids to do that.